you walked into introduction, so you can.
You can introduce yourself.
I'm Karen, I'm up in Frontline in admissions.
So, yeah, take her away.
All right. Well, no, it's great to be here. I guess it's probably since I've worked actually blue glass here for myself. It was like a hot lunch or something like 10 years ago, like a decade ago or something. And then of course, I guess the last time I was here was 2013, probably with Lino when I was part of that crew. But this week, I get to kind of try to concern myself with my own things. I guess what I've been working on lately is done a lot with kind of looking at like the color spectrum. You know, I like looking up at the sky, looking at rainbows, and, prismatic type things. I had a residency at the Hermès at their Saint Louis crystal factory in France, and so I got to work with a lot of crystal, and I essentially every color I made like a little prism, and then also made these kind of things I called spherical horizons, where it was half color, half clear, and that started making me think about you know, when you look out at the sky and see a horizon line. And so later in the week I hope to do a few of those pieces, and most of those pieces they're basically two color fades come together with a middle, and essentially it's like if, you know, when I have to wear glasses all the time, when you take off your glasses and you see a focal point. So usually the shape is indicative of either a glass lens or the lens of a phone or an airplane window, or this week, because I drove from Louisville, I looked out my windows in my truck a lot. I'm gonna do like you know, the rear view mirror and the side mirror, or the side window kind of thing, or the hopes on those. But today, I'm gonna start off, and it's like, my practice, I look at it as like three-pronged. It's kind of utilitarian wares, some conceptual attempts, and then I guess like what would you call decorative objects or sculptural objects, design type things. And so today it's kind of in between the design sculptural type things. And I'll make these cones. And I've been fascinated with the cone, I guess, for as long as I can remember. My dad was in the Air Force, and so thinking like missiles, and actually I stopped at the Minuteman missile facility on the way out here, and also like the martini glass. And a lot of that kind of language and futurism all started happening in the like 1920s. And so I've been, and then Duchamp's like Descending New Staircase started before then, but the large glass and those cones. And I've made a series of martinis glasses where it looks like they're in motion kind of thing. So this part, there's these cones that are kind of indicative of that sense of motion, but we'll do dealing with the color. So I'll make, start off with a RGB or red, blue, green, and then they'll be fairly nice size, and they'll have a lens in the bottom. And essentially they just kind of roll around on the table almost, and I'd like to, I guess, make 7 of them. And the 7 would be a red one, a blue one, a green one, a yellow, aqua, a magenta, pinkish kind of purple one, and then just a white one. And they'd all have these little lenses at the bottom, and kind of just nestle around each other. That's kind of today's agenda. Tomorrow I'll make more of the kind of these cups that will hopefully stuff and we'll make into these horizon pieces I was speaking earlier of on Saturday. I'll also make these little kind of white shapes that have these little fins. Do this thing sometimes in glass, and I mean everybody here is familiar with glass, but called like weird dipping, where you basically just kind of dip it into the furnace and pull out, and you have like a nice distinct line. And so that's something we'll be working on. And then on Friday, I've been fascinated with kind of like architectural windows, but specifically like the bars on them. And here in the United States, it's so stark, it's so welcoming with just straight bars. But you go over to Europe and it's kind of nice and curves, and it's very kind of indicative of like Roman handles. So I hope my buddy Janusz Pozniak's coming down today, my friend Morgan Peterson, and then Dave Walters is coming down for 2 days as well, because he owes me. Anyways, so be working on that on Friday, making these handle pieces that I hope to build as large as I kind of can, on the stick in the glory hole, but then bringing them to the annealer and trying to attach multiples of those together. Could be a shit show. Hopefully no one gets hurt. Might be fun, you know, one of those type of deals, double dick markers kind of thing. So
Do you have drawings?
I have some doodles in places. I mean, this was kind of a rough one I sent to Ben, so that shows. And then I have kind of stuff everywhere. I'd have to kind of go through books to find. But so kind of, you know, you get the idea of building, you know, kind of with the Roman handle type thing. The horizon pieces like this to me would either be like looking through a pair of glasses or your kind of vision, you know, type thing, or the rear view mirror kind of shape. These are like the cones. And then the last day, I'll probably try to build a mangrove. I grew up in Florida, and it's essentially, and I think a lot of my practice is based on the ideas of what glass is. And I've always liked that shape, but essentially they're holding Florida together by the sand, and so it's like kind of this, you know, loosely conceptual based on, you know, it's made of sand. I would love to do an installation sometime down there, but they're kind of a pain in the butt to make. So we'll try to figure and make. I guess the last time I made, I did the Penland concentration a year ago. I taught there, and I get to go after Pilchuck and Japan. I'll get to go there and do another 8-week concentration and teach that. So that's a lot of fun. But make one of those on Sunday. And I guess the last thing I've also been working on is kind of what a block is, or a mold, and taking whatever shape of a mold and placing kind of like, basically you get a jack line in the piece, and then just kind of going back and forth and flipping it, and then you can drop it out and make these kind of like arc-like forms. So they get punny twice, and then when you spin, you hold it back on itself. So then on that thicker bottom part where the blowpipe originally was, it has an arc, and it'll actually like kind of nestle or sit on those 2 points. Kind of looks like a hot dog. When I look at it, it looks like the Oscar Mayer. And then growing up in Tampa, like one of them was stationed there, and then another one's like stationed in Louisville. So it's like the damn thing's been chasing me my whole life. But it's like loosely on that shape. Kind of looks, I guess, like the Anush Kapoor bean kind of deal. So I guess there's a wide variety of stuff. I'm not very good on just and I don't believe like in my practice like focusing in on one thing. So I hope to also try to make it interesting and engaging for everybody. You know, so it's not like, oh, we get to make 1,000 of these. So, you know, but everybody's practice is different, and that's the awesome thing about this place is you guys get to see so many things and hopefully help troubleshoot, or you know, and I'm also open to. You never know what happens too, and I think that's the wonderful thing that I've still learned about this material and why I'm still engaged into it, because it's a struggle for all of us, but sometimes it's worthwhile. That's, I guess, you know, are there any kind of questions or?
Yeah, the cones,
Yes.
you said the lens, are you gonna grind the lens in there, or?
So it'll, like, I'll make a cone,
Okay,
and then I'll knock the bottom off, fold the lip, and then drop a bit of clear in the bottom, and so it'll have a little bulge out kind of in the middle
so
of the cone.
basically,
And we'll punny do that, and then yeah, that's when, and that punny will get cold worked off, and it'll just be this kind of kinetic cone martini top.
What's the scale you're imagining on those?
The big ones are this big, you know, so like, I don't know what that, like 14, 16, not very big at least. And then thinking about like if you see this, you know, if you shine the red, blue, green thing, it's like those are bigger, and then the other ones get smaller, so then the other one's like something like that big. Basically, I mean, in glass terms, the way I look at it is like on the step up from the workhorse, two gathers, and on the workhorse just 2 gathers on top of the color. And that's the amount, and I'm not, you know, they don't need to be the same. Similar within the large, but not the same. Anything else?